yeah, I realized that I need to separate this video in half as well. Day 14. We're going back to Stockholm. Basically in the morning we went to the Kiasma again, we bought the tickets, and we went to Katajanoken Terminali, which is where the Viking line stops in Helsinki. So we put down our bags over there, and my younger brother, my grandma, and my dad stayed behind because they were tired, and me and my mom, we went off to continue to visit around Helsinki. So we took a tram or a bus from the terminal, the pier, to Central Station, which is a gorgeous Central Station, by the way. Again, light cyan color, really nice. And then we walked to Kiasma, but unfortunately it wasn't open because it was Mondays or Wednesdays, I forgot. But it was a Kiasma. It's also one of the National Art Museums of Helsinki, and it's for contemporary art. And the building itself is already really interesting, so we continued walking. We went to Kansallismuseo, which is the National Museum. Although it's not that big of a museum, it's really interesting of a museum. There were all these weird exhibits that was really cool and interactive. When museums are interactive, they're cool. There was a huge screen, and there was a table, and there were these wooden discs, and you can put these discs into this, I don't know, this hole, and if you put this, not like a disc, but like a wooden block, if you put certain wooden blocks, the screen will display certain things, videos, clips. That's pretty cool. Another one that's pretty cool is the president, the hallway of presidents. Yeah, and then there were all these photos of presidents, and these photos, they were moving, but very slightly, very subtly. And for the last photo, it says future president, and we had the two candidates for the president of Finland. But you can also take a photo, and there was like a little booth beside the hallway, and you can take a photo inside of that booth, and your photo will show up on there, on the frame, on top of the future president label. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, I didn't take a photo. I took out my phone. I took I put Obama on my phone, and I scanned my phone with the camera. Yeah, anyway, I was just playing around, fooling around like a fool. After that, we were hungry, and we want to eat some good Finnish food. We went to a restaurant called Restaurant Kuu, Kuu. And, oh my gosh, this is one of the best meals I've had. Not as great as the one in Berlin, but almost as great. It's really expensive, but I feel like it was worth it. There was a boiled cabbage, and there were slices of pork neck with this mildly sweet gravy sauce, and with chopped up peanuts sprinkled on top, and it was very, very tasty. And we had another dish, and it was this herring sauce with remoulade or something like that, and very thin slices of salmon with these thin, crispy crisps. Yeah, it was crazy. And I had a glass bottle of rosemary blueberry drink, soda. Go there, because it's good. So at that point, like if we continue to go north, every step we take is a new northernmost point. And finally, I decided to go to Sibelius Monument, and I have decided this place to be my northernmost point until I go to Reykjavik. And yeah, until I go to Reykjavik, until I go to Rovaniemi or something. So Sibelius Monument, there were these tubes, these metallic tubes, and I took a photo from beneath, and it was beautiful. And I stood at a single point, and I was like, this point is gonna be the northernmost point I will ever be traveling to in this entire world until 10 years later, around 10 years later, I think I'm gonna go to Iceland and Faroe Islands if possible. I want to go to Faroe Islands, Torshan. Anyway, one thing we still haven't done in Finland is to eat blueberry pie or blueberry cake, mustika pirkka. So I searched in Google Map, mustika pirkka near me, and we had a cafe there. There's a cafe which is at the seaside called Regatta Cafe, and it's a really famous cafe, and it was really nice, really peaceful and quiet over there. And we went there to buy mustika pirkka. And then it's a takeaway, so we took all the way back to the boat. And in fact, we didn't eat it straight away. We ate the cake the other morning. But yeah, there we go. We went back to the Katajanoken Terminali. We kind of went off the bus at the wrong station, so we had to walk our ways back to the terminal. But yeah, anyway, we went on the boat again. Gabriella, Viking Line, once again. And instead of having the buffet this time, we went to the restaurant across that place. And it was this burger grill place, and I had a burger over there. And it was really nice. Fries, steak, onion rings, and what's the other food? Mashed potatoes, I think? I don't know. Next morning, it was day 16. Shit. So we arrived at Stockholm. We took a bus to Stockholm Central Station. And in Central Station, we put down our stuffs. We bought some food in a pressbyrån or something. Forgot. We bought some food. And we took a train to Avista, not Alvista, Avista Krylbo, which is different, which is even more north than Stockholm, but still not as north as Helsinki. So we went there, and we got off at Avista, and then we went on to another train to Halsberg. And then we stopped at Halsberg, and we went on to another train to Karlstad / Kristinehamn. So yeah, basically we were gonna stay at Karlstad for one night. The reason being is that we can't directly go to Oslo. If we had to directly go to Oslo, we would have to. It would be overnight, and there would be a lot of transfers. So yeah, we stayed one night at Karlstad. We lived on a street called Sågsverksgatan. And, okay, I'm gonna talk about something that I shouldn't be talking about, but I know some of you are curious. So, out of all the countries I've been to, Finland and Sweden have the hottest girls. And, the girls in Stockholm isn't really that hot, but the girls in West Stockholm, say Gothenburg or Karlstad, they are significantly more attractive. So that's a piece of information. That's a piece of trivia. But yeah, at night I had chicken soup. Finally, I could drink soup, and that's it. All right, day 17, August 1st. Here comes the nighttime. Okay, anyway, we didn't go to anywhere in Karlstad because we figured there's nothing really that special in Karlstad. Yeah. So we went back to the central station. Oh yeah, it was bus. We went there by bus. And no wait, I was gonna say Herlanda, but I realized that's in Gothenburg. I'm mixing things up. Karlstad, Sågsverksgatan. Yeah. There was a lake. And, yeah. We went back to the central station. And then, instead of taking a train to Oslo, it's a bus. Because apparently there were these train tracks, construction work. Anyway, we took a bus to Oslo Central Station with an S instead of a C. And we kind of stayed over there for a while. And then, I remembered seeing this woman with her son, and he was going to open a bottle of orange soda. And as she opens it, as she turns the cap open, the soda explodes in all directions, 360 degrees. And I was there to witness it. But anyway, and then we walked from the central station to Munkegata, where we live. And, And apparently, again, we were running out of time. We had to go somewhere on that day. So we walked all the way. We put down our stuffs. We put down all our bags and stuff. We settled down. We walked from our Airbnb Munkegata back to the central, to Domkirke, the church, the Oslo Cathedral. Okay, let me describe Munkegata for you. First of all, ever since I went to Helsinki, the weather had been drastically different. It's way colder, which is great, and Munkegata is a really neat little Airbnb, but we lived on the top floor. So, my grandma had trouble walking, so it was a hard time for her to walk all the way up to the third floor. But, And then we went to Oslo Cathedral. It was pretty nice. The colors are, they were black. There were black involved, which is pretty cool. There was black involved. And we couldn't go into the church. There's another guy, tourist, assumably. He wanted to go in also, but he can't because it's closed. It's not closed like usually closed, but it was closed for some other special reasons. Anyway, we went to our next place, which is Akershus Festning, which is Akershus Fort. And I don't know if this is the oldest place that I'd been to, but it was really a long time ago, like 13th century, 12th century, and there was this fort, and there was a guard in front of the fort guarding it. And it's already been 900 years. It's still being used. And we couldn't go in as well, so we walked around the thing. It was beautiful, it was sunset, it was nice. And then after going to the fort, we went to a restaurant. Oh yeah, originally we were gonna go to, let me check, what's the name of the restaurant? What's the frickin' name of the restaurant? I need to know it. So, we were gonna go to try to have some Norwegian food, alright? But, so we found this restaurant, and, we were gonna go there, and, nope. Like, it was all booked, and it was super expensive. We looked at the menu, it was super duper expensive. And, it is claimed to be the oldest restaurant in Oslo, and the name of the restaurant is Engebret Cafe. Put that in mind. Keep that in mind. So, instead of going to that cafe, let's go to another cafe, Cafe Skansen. So, again, expensive, real expensive. But I had seafood soup that I really enjoyed. Of course, we had salmon, we had fish, and we also had this pulled, dried pork. That's really nice, and and it was nighttime. So yeah, here comes the nighttime. We had never had dinner outside before. It's the first. Other than the time we had Chinese food in Amsterdam. Like, it's the first for us. And it was nighttime. The sky turned from light blue to completely black. and the streets become very empty. The weather becomes super cold and windy, and I didn't bring a jacket out, so I was freezing cold. And these street lights, they were so empty, they were so sleepy, and we passed by a street, and there were these giant dolls hanging on top of the streets, and it was just very eerie, very strange. And there was like a there's this entrance to a subway station, and the subway station looks like an abandoned subway station. It was very strange, and the entrance is super long and super not steep. You know, it's like this is the subway station, and this is the ground level, and instead of going down directly, it's like this. So, you know, it's very flat. And it's really weird. The escalators, they have these green lights and red lights, and they speed up if you go near them. And it's just a really moody night. And outside of our Airbnb, there's this field of blue light bulbs. And the entire park turns blue. And that's really cool. Alright, this is probably video 4 out of 6, probably. Anyway, day 18, Oslo. First off, we went to Nasjionalgalleriet, which is easily the best art museum I had been to in this trip. Although it's not a huge museum, there are a lot of interesting paintings. And I think one of the reasons why is because there were a lot of impressionist paintings in there, and they were very different from the other neoclassical paintings. And there were also these antiquities painting, and then there's an entire room dedicated to Edvard Munch, and Edvard Munch is a really, really great artist. And the Scream, we have the Scream over there, and legendary. And even though we don't have much time, I decided we should walk to Det Kongelige Slott and check it out, just for a few minutes. And for some reason, we went to the right time at the right place. There were guards there, and they were kind of, I don't know what they're doing, but there was a limousine, and someone important is in the limousine, and there were guards everywhere, and there were police motorbikes, and a lot of people were watching. So I assume that something important is happening over there, and we were at the right time at the right place. After that, we took a bus to Majorstuen, and we decided to have lunch over there. We were gonna have Norwegian lunch, but my brother really wants a burger, so instead of having a Norwegian lunch, and instead of going to McDonald's, we went to Kverneriet Majorstua. Yeah, that reminds me of quick lunch. I never had quick lunch before in Norway. What a regret. What a shame. Yeah. Anyway, this burger restaurant is amazing. Amazing. The burger is amazing. I had a pulled pork burger, and it has this sweet and sour sauce in it. And I had a huge cup of cookie dough milkshake. And I also had ribs, and it was just a very nice lunch, man. Really nice. After that, it was raining a little bit, and we walked our way to Vigelandsparken. Rolled R. Anyway, it was kind of raining, and Frognerparken as well. It was kind of raining, and it was very small rain at first, and then it got heavier and heavier and heavier, and we had to hide under the trees. Damn it. Rain was over. It was sunny all of a sudden, and we went to see the Frognerparken first, which is a bridge, and on the two sides of the bridge, there were all these statues of people, of kids, naked women, naked men. And it's just very grotesque, and it's like an orgy. But we looked the other way around. There was a garden, and then there were stairs up to a platform. There were stairs, more stairs up to another platform, and then there were more stairs up to another platform to the monolithen, or the monolith, which is a huge pillar, very tall pillar of naked humans mushed and squeezed into a pillar. It was really grotesque. It was like an orgy or something. And then around that pillar there were these steps, alright, and there were 36 clumps of statues of humans, like merging together and squeezing together and stuff, and all of them are naked. So that's really special. That's really eye-opening. That's really monumental. It's just it's eye-opening, and it just quickly became one of the most underrated places in Scandinavia. I actually really enjoyed Vigelandsparken. And then we took a bus to Norske Folkemuseum, and me and my dad, we went into the museum while my mom, my brother, and my grandma waited outside. This museum, it was really special, but a little underwhelming, just a little bit. It's still really nice though. So it sort of recreates the environment of like old Oslo, old Norway, and there were all sorts of houses. And further into the place, there were all sorts of wooden houses, these huts. And if you go up the hill, there's a little hill, you can find the wooden church, a very small church completely made out of wood. And surprisingly, it looks very Chinese. What? But yeah, we went into the thing. I took a few photos. It was pretty nice. And yeah, after the Folk Museum, I wanted to go to Neseblod Records, which is a record store that sells heavy metal, death metal, thrash metal, black metal records. And it closes at 6. And by the time we went out of the museum, it was 5:30. So we just took a bus, and we went straight back to, Crap, what's the name? It's a Torget? Yunban? Something like that. I don't know. What's the name of the place? Yunban Torget? I don't know. I'm just, recalling from my memory. I think it's called Yunban Torget, alright? Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're from Norway, you're from Oslo, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, we went over there, and my mom, my dad, my brother, they went to the central station to buy food, and I and my grandma went back to the Airbnb. But before going to the Airbnb, I went to the Neseblod Records record store, and I went in there, and there were people in there kind of flickering over these vinyls, and they were like, wait, why is this Chinese teenager in here? And there were a lot of good music in there. Of course, Death, Essential, we have Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Alice Cooper is in there, and of course, Burzum. I believe Mayhem is in there, but I didn't see any. But Burzum, it was very clear. It was put, in the front. And it was very noisy, not loud, but noisy. There were metal music playing in the background and stuff, and it was very dark and gloomy, red lights, upside down crosses, circle with an upside down star in it, metal stuffs. But yeah, I went out. It's a pretty good record store. A lot of good metal records on there. If you go to Norway and you don't experience the black metal, you're missing out. You're missing out, man. But yeah, after that we went to Munkagata. We had purple cauliflower, and we had chicken, and that's it. Day 19, again, we didn't really have time. So me and my mom, we went out of the Airbnb and we went to Munch Museet, but only me entered the museum, and it's really small. It's basically for people who went to the Nasjionalgalleriet and who wanted to see more Edvard Munch. So that is the extra package. So I went there, not that special, really. More Madonnas, more naked little girls, no pedophilism intended, but Edvard Munch paints little girls naked. It's not my fault, okay? And more the scream, except instead of the person doing this, it's another person like being sad and all. And that's it. 8 Norwegian crowns, I believe. It's really small. You can't film videos over there. You can take pictures, but you can't film videos. And then we went back home. We grabbed our bags. We went to Central Station. And we took a bus back to Karlstad. But we won't live there. We kind of stayed there, and my mom, and my dad, we went to a supermarket called Hemköp, and we bought stuffs over there. And we went back to the train, and at night we arrived at GÖTEBORG Central Station, Gothenburg. And right away, Gothenburg, I'm not supposed to say this, but again, Gothenburg, it has more hot girls than Stockholm. Anyway, Gothenburg, really, really nice place. And then we went to our Airbnb, which is at Vigelandsparken. Yep. Alright, finally, last day I'm gonna talk about in this video. We're at day 20. Day 20. That's right, folks. Day 20. Oh, okay, yeah, day 20, yeah. We're at Gothenburg, Herlanda, and I haven't talked about the Airbnb yet. So we and the owner of the Airbnb went face to face. Really nice meetup, and we live in this basement. And oh boy, the basement is amazing. It's really dimly lit. It's very moody. It's classy, and there were these like very dim lights. It's really cool. Air conditioning, I believe, is on. And it's really clean, very nice. There were no couches because there were no living room, but the bedrooms are pretty big. And the bathroom is long shaped. Okay, yeah, anyway. Next morning, we went to the entrance of Universeum. We never went in there because it's fucking expensive. And we also went to Liseberg entrance. We never went in there. It's similar to Tivoli, roller coasters and huge spinning, stuffs. But yeah. And then after that, we took a bus to Skansen Kronan. Yeah, we passed by a Skansen, like a little fort, on our way to Universeum, and then we passed. And then now we're going to another Skansen, which is the big Skansen. And it was up on the hill. We couldn't go in, but the view is amazing on there. And it was very cold and windy. And then we went back down. And I was like, wait, what's that church over there? I spotted a church, and it looks really cool. So I and my dad, we went there to check it out. And apparently the name of the church is Oscar Fredrik Church. Yeah, Oscar Fredriks Kyrka. And it's actually a really small church, and someone's holding a wedding in there, and we almost crashed the wedding. But anyway, we continued walking. We went to a Haga District. There was also a Haga District in Karlstad, by the way. So there's a Haga District, very busy, very nice. And then we had lunch over there, Sjöbaren seafood, which is technically the best meal I had in Sweden. And the reason being is that we had a lot of seafood, and originally we thought it's gonna cost $1,200, 300 Swedish crowns, but it only costs about 900 or 1,000 Swedish crowns, which is around 850 Hong Kong dollars. So it's not that expensive. We had fish cakes, fish au gratin, we had seafood soup, and it was nice, even though there were no covers on top of the restaurant and like a little flowers were dropping down, but it's still great. It's still a great meal. And then after that, we went to Fiskekorka, and it's closed because it's a Saturday, and it's this fish market thing, you know. There's a statue outside of the entrance. And then we took a bus back to our Airbnb, not Munkagata. It's Vitkersgatan. Alright, yeah. Anyway, we went back to our Airbnb, we went back to Central Station, and we were running out of time. There was about 1 hour left, and my mom's like, wait, we still need to buy our dinner. So me and my dad, we went to Google Maps, we looked for the nearest supermarket, and we found a Hemköp about like across the street, and we went there. It's inside a mall. We bought stuff. We bought chicken. We bought salad, and we hopped onto the train, and we went back to Copenhagen Central Station. And from Copenhagen Central Station, we went to Hamburg Hauptbahnhof, and I'll leave that for another video. So there you go. My mouth is... I can't speak anymore.